Hey friends, you are with Kim Byers at the Celebration Shop, and today I'm going to show you how to use the Cricut Joy Card Mat on a Cricut Maker or a Cricut Explore Air 2. It's a lot easier than you might think to make those super cute Cricut Joy cards, but on a machine you might already have. So let's hop over to Cricut Design Space. I'll show you what card we're gonna make, and then we'll hit the craft table and I'll show you this really simple hack. And by the way, if you like what we're doing here today, I hope you'll give me a thumbs up, and I would love for you to hit that subscribe button and join me every week for new videos. All right guys, let's get going. Okay, so here we are in Cricut Design Space, and I have already set up a Merry Christmas card. And if you've not seen it yet, I have a video on how to create these quick cut Joy cards completely from scratch in Cricut Design Space, making it all your own. And so I'm going to link that up above so you can hop up and see how that's done. So this is the card I'm actually going to cut, the Merry Christmas with the Christmas trees. But I wanted to show you how you could get cards from the system when you have Maker. So here, see, I have Maker and you have the Explore. If you did this on the mat, or you try to do this with the Cricut Joy, it's going to take you straight to the mat. So it's not going to let you work in Canvas. So if you click Maker, and if you go to the search, the images like we just did, and put in Quick Cut Card, it's going to bring these up. Now you notice that this is a full card, right? So the machine's going to try to cut the entire card. If you want to use the card kits and you want to use the card mat, which is what we're talking about today, then just scroll on down. And okay, see, these are the corners that you can make your own, which is what I did with the Christmas card. And again, that video walks you through that whole thing. But if you wanted to go to something that is 100% already made, right? So this Bravo, and you insert it, make this smaller so you can see it. So it's giving you the cut, it's giving you the envelope. We actually want to eliminate most of those things. So we're just going to move it over. Let me make it a little bit bigger so you can see it and you can see it. Okay, so we'll go into the envelope. We're going to hide that. We don't need the score for it. And then when it gets to the card, we're actually going to get rid of the score. Okay, so this is your last element. So what we want to do is we want to click on that, and we want to go to the contour tool. And we're actually going to deselect the background. So now what you're left with when you close out of that is the actual cut itself. So nothing else. You just have those pieces that are going to cut out of that element, including, let's make it a little bigger so you can see it, including those corner cuts. Now what I will say is this is a little bit bigger than it should be. Okay, so it's 4.0383 by 5.33. So what you need to do, if you want to do it this way, is you're going to need to reduce that to 4, and you can go up into more and bring that down to actual 4. And because it's locked, it's going to take care of your height as well. Okay, so now this would work with the Joy card kit. Me personally, so we're just going to take that and hide that whole thing. I like to make my own cards. So, and again in that video, it's going to show you how you grab the corners. And then I just chose elements that are easy cuts. So these Christmas trees will be cut out. And then the Merry Christmas is going to be written on with a gold marker. It's going to be super pretty. Okay, so the final thing you need to do before you hit Make It is you need to select all, and you need to attach them. You want it all to happen at one time. So now let's hit Make It. Okay, and so now it's on our card. It's draw and cut. It's on a 12 by 12 mat, and no worries, I'm going to show you how to use the card mat with this. And so we're ready actually to go over to the craft table and let me show you the hack on how you're going to use the card mat and cut this out with the card mat. Let's go ahead and select Continue. And we get to choose our material. So we're going to browse all materials, and what we're going to use is cardstock, and what I suggest is a medium cardstock of 80 pounds. Okay, so now that we've chosen our cardstock, I would suggest taking your pressure down to less instead of the default, moving it down 1 to less. Then our black pen is actually our gold marker. We have our fine point blade, and we're ready to go to the craft table. Okay, so here we are on the craft table, and let me show you what we have. So this is a standard grip green mat for your Explorer or your Maker. This is a card mat, and I have some masking tape, and then I just have a card set. Let me start out by just saying that I am hoping that they make a card mat the size for the Cricut Maker or the Explorer. And that's not something that's happening right now, but that's what I'm hoping that they will do so that we can make these cards with our Explorer and our Maker. Although this does work. This does work. I've tested it and it works. The only caveat I will tell you is I don't love that I am tricking my machine about depth, because these new machines are so sensitive. This is why you choose your paper stock, or you tell if it's an 80 pound or 100 pound or a 60 pound, because the pressure of the needle is going off of what you tell it's going through the machine. And so when I'm telling it it's an 80 pound cardstock, it's pressing down harder, right? The machine is pressing down harder because it thinks that the material is further down. So this machine is just so well engineered that it knows the difference. So I just want to tell you that in advance. Okay, so what you do if you want to try this is take your card mat, and if you look, I have put it to the edges of the mat on both sides, like literally just bumped it right up to the edge. And if you look, the part where your card is going to go into the card mat lines up perfectly with the inch marks, and it lines up perfectly with the edge marks. And I just use masking tape to secure the mat into place, and then you would just use it like normal. So you would take your cardstock piece and you would slip it inside, and then we would take it over to the machine and cut it as if we were cutting it on a Joy. Okay, so here we are at the Cricut Maker, and so we feed our mat in, and I just want to point out your star wheels. I've moved them all the way over, and then your guard here, or your little guide wheel here, is going to catch it on the edge just like it would any normal mat. So if you have star wheels over the top of this, definitely move them out of the way. Okay, so we've loaded the mat. It pulled it in just fine. Now we're going to insert a pin, and I've chosen to use a marker. We just open the clamp, insert, close it, and select cut. And as I mentioned before, if you are going to try this method, I would suggest choosing a less pressure. When you choose the 80 pound cardstock and it gives you the option in Cricut Design Space, just choose less. It's in default, but choose less, since you've got to compensate for that card mat being in there. Okay, so here we are back on the craft table, and our card has been cut. So we're just going to pick up the corners, and much like with the Joy, it kind of self-weeds itself on the mat. And so we pop that out, then you just pull it out, and then we can clean that in a couple of minutes. And if you want, I have a whole video, and I'll put it up above for you to be able to learn how to use the Cricut Joy and the Cricut Joy Mat. And so I'll link that up so you can check that out and get all the details about that. Okay, so this is what our card looks like. You can always take your weeding tool if you have any little leftover elements and pop those out. But for the most part, the adhesive on that mat, or at least for me, tends to weed everything. Okay, and so then we'll take our little insert piece. Oh, it's funny. I cut out one corner of it. We're gonna use a different one because that actually has a price tag on it. Okay, so we'll put this in the corners. And there we are. Oh, how cute. It turned out really, really good. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed that little hack, and I hope you'll be making lots of these darling little cards. By the way, I do have a video on how to make your own Cricut Joy cards or your own cards with the little cuts at the corners from scratch in Cricut Design Space, and I also have a video on how to make your own card kits from any paper stock or card stock that you would like to use. So make sure you check those out, and I put links to everything that we used today down below, and I would love for you guys to hit that subscribe button and join me every week for new videos. All right, I'll see you next time.